Happy full moon. In the Jose Argulas's teaching, that is electric deer moon. And the deep, profound inquiry is, how may I serve? I come from the reindeer clan, and our antlers are suffused by the sun, by the moon, and by the stars. We are known as the people of the reindeer. Do you know your people? Do you know your root clan? Do you know your totems and allies? Grandma's message this full moon month is, what is sacred partnership? How do we sacredly parent? And what is the Holy Family? Welcome. I'm deeply committed to seeing life as a mandala. Let me show you the one that I most recently completed. Imagine that you're partnering a blueprint. Imagine that in the above realm, in the galactic core and the council that shows us more and more and more, that we made an agreement to meet in this full moon, that we made an agreement to receive the messages from our mother lines, from our father lines, from the first shamans and medicine people, and from the core star of this earth itself. Imagine that in the heart, every single one of us has a message. Allowing ourselves to take a deep breath in to this turning of tides, this changing of seasons, this ending of cycles, this ending of huge cycles, hundreds and thousands of years of cycles. Imagine that we are this little particle, one color, one line, not even a line, but a dot in this dot matrix of life, that we are part of the Gaian matrix, that we are one little particle, one even subatomic particle, one quanta, that in that flash, not even that long will it take to discreate a configuration that no longer serves the whole family, that no longer serves the sacred partnering, the partnering with the sacred of who we are, the parenting of the sacred innocence of the inner child. Imagine that in this hologram of whole family, this whole system has run amok, where generations, women have birthed men that became soldiers, where generations, soldiers have returned wounded, where generations, women have become soldiers, soldiering in the home, soldiering in community, soldiering to build family. But imagine if you and I, separately, and yet potentially in a communal hot tub, opened ourselves to realize that our children are bringing these little tiny soldiers to us, and we're opening up to the cervical ring to accept these little soldiers, to take them back in where they came from the cervical ring, through the clitoris, into the vagina, the earth vase, and into the womb itself, and into the endometrius, that this little soldier can be washed away with the innocence of a womb, the womb waters, and that the ovaries, the seeds produced every single month in a 28-day cycle, these particular ovums contain a genome that resources us to a genomic field and a pool of resources, of activations and actualizations and behaviors and fierce faith in spiritual law. Imagine that we're here on the planet at this time to partner the sacred and divine blueprint of what it is that we're created from. We're created from stars. We're created from moon radiances. We're created from photons of this solar energy called the intelligence of light and the sun. Imagine that we all have antlers or antennae, and instead of looking this way to say, is it safe, is it safe, is it safe? We're actually looking upwards from whence we came. So Jima's message today is a first for me. I love firsts. I have KAARINASAARINEN, and my middle name is Natalie, one born of the light, NATALIE. Lots of A's. I was born to be an initiator. I was born numerologically to walk the path of mastery. What were you born for? What is your best and wisest service? What are you partnering? How are you parenting this sacred innocence of the child within? How do you relate to this heart space where the child is held in this cradle, on this cradle board, and carried with such innocence and wonder? When was the last time that we as partners looked at each other and said, you're wonder, you're innocent, you're miracle. You're not here to fulfill my needs. You're here to fulfill the need to actualize your genius and your gifts, and to continue to release the trauma of ancestors so that you can be wholly here in the hologram of you, from your God-Goddess codes, to manifest a new reality on planet Earth. Now let that sit within you. Imagine sitting with your partner, not doing this, like a Pac-Man eating away at self-esteem, like a Pac-Man eating away at self-respect, like a Pac-Man eating away at self-love, self-care, eating away through critical judgments, eating away from the inner judge. You'll never be good enough, you'll never be good enough. Eating away that competition, comparison, complaint, eating away all of that. Imagine it's just consciousness. What are you conscious of? What are you aware of? What are you alive to? What enlivens you? What keeps you rising in the morning and saying, wow, I have another day and another way to participate in the great emancipation, in the great liberation from the root source and causal level of what causes humanity grief and pain. And what would happen if that's your soul purpose function as partners? What would happen if you could reveal the vulnerability of who and what you are, and return each of you to that childlike wonder of you are innocent? Sarva Mangalam. You are innocent. You never did anything wrong. It's not your fault. It didn't start with you, and it can end with each of us stepping up to the heart to speak truth, stepping up to the united vision of one I, that is the we and the us, that crowns our glory from the stars, from the earth moon, the earth sun, and all of these other astrological phenomena called planets. What would happen if there were planetary distribution systems and centers in each of these planets, and even beyond this universe, beyond the beyond, the beyond, gate, param gate, parasam gate, that we don't know of? What would happen in this shared time space? We could make an agreement from this great celestial being, this great radiant body, this incredibly solar system fueled system. What would happen if all systems said, yes, we're ignited, we're ready to go, we're committed. We're committed to speak truth and live from a united vision, and we're committed. Now, this is how I partner. This is how I partner. This I of my feminine partners this I of my masculine, and this I is the I am. Not a small I am dug into a pit close to death. Not a small I am wondering, will anyone ever rescue me? Not a small I am persecuting others for putting them in the pit in the first place, i.e. the grave. Or haven't we created of this beautiful, precious, gorgeous planet Earth, which is to be a garden, haven't we created cemetery upon cemetery upon cemetery and graveyard upon graveyard, and spent all of that money on caskets lined in velvet when we have not seen the one lying in the casket as holy, wholesome, well, healthy, wealthy, and incredibly innocent? So this grandma message is a calling. Would you be willing just for today, to say, I am partnering my innocence. I am partnering my sacredness. I am partnering these higher dimensions, this greater vast space to discover the mystery of how innocence can move forward. Now, imagine my partner, inner and now outer, micro and macro. My outer partner is a direct mirror for this. My outer partner is complete. He, she, it doesn't need me to complete them. He, she, it doesn't need my approval. He, she, it doesn't need my permission to be all that he, she, it is. He, she, it needs my space, needs my love, needs my conscientiousness to live by my ethics and by the foundation that I build my Buddhaic nature or my supernatural nature from. I build from the roots up. I build from billions of years of earth life up. I build this infrastructure, this skeletal system in which my cells, glands, and organs all find a way to simply be. And in that beingness, I offer space for the sacredness to be revealed in an external partner, a partner of nature, of the trees, a partner of my totems and allies, a partner of my antlered ones, a partner who knows the music of the spheres and the harmony of the soul, a partner who knows the soil and how to regenerate it. After all that we've done to her, let's regenerate the soil and double dig it and triple dig it and bury our compost all organic in the soil, and then seed the word, then seed the thought, then seed the belief, and then seed the womb with health and wellness and wholeness and wholesomeness, with those agreements to create a new earth. We're all participating in a living experiment. Not the end of that cycle, that experiment. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this experiment. Can we experience the sacredness, divine knowing within the embodiment with joy, with ecstasy, with bliss, and expand and explore and discover what are the sacred laws with which we can co-create a new reality? There's so many traditions in the mystery schools that speak about Dharma, about truth. What is the truth? How can we create truth? Is there enough truth of love and light to go around? Of course there is. It's sustenance. It's manna from heaven. It's really the pool of all of our genetic resources coming together from the motherline and fatherline to say we're born innocent. And this is the first heart, and this is the second heart. This is the heart below, and this is the heart above. Now imagine this heart frequency going up and down as life force goes up and down without any blockages, just going up and down from the gateways all the way up and through. and imagine that in that sacred space, we agree that we are equal. Equality begets the illumination of the soul body of the new earth child. This new earth child is a spiritual warrior, a spiritual healer, a spiritual teacher, a spiritual leader, a spirit of the medicine, a spiritual shaman, knowing no shame. Who do we think we are when we conceive of this new seed and bring this seed forward after 9 months of gestation, entering labor and delivery? Do we not realize that we aren't a thought? We are the energy of the universe pulsing through these pulse points, going through the meridians and lead lines of the land, and going through sacred sounds in order to breathe presence into that which we carry. What would happen? Just be with this. What would happen if every man and woman came together in that agreement that we are here to give up the karmic dispensations, the karmic dust, and sometimes it's sawdust of the loggers, and sometimes it's extraction from the mining industries, and sometimes it's the pollutants that we put into the waters, and the oil, the drilling for oil off the coast of Australia, or off the coast of Cuba, or off the coast of Newfoundland. We're drilling into the body of the mother, and every single woman who is a mother who has deep-rooted knowingness experiences the pain. We are the particulars of this one great mandala called this living mandala, this Gaia, this Pachamama, this earth. And she's partnering us to wake up to what our true responsibility and accountability is. Now, take a deep breath again. Just allow ourselves to listen to the messages that are being given to us from the grandmothers, from our daughters, from our grandchildren, from our sons, from our grandparents, from the ancestors in the mother line and the father line, and the first shamans and medicine people, from our totems and allies. We have so many messages. This is not social media. This is not media. This is the medium. This is the petri dish that science came from, geology came from, geography came from, physics came from, neuroanatomy came from, allopathy came from, nursing came from, natural medicine came from, spiritual laws. Now, here we are partnering all of this human genius, this potential, this genomic predisposition to immortal life, and we're partnering it, and we're conceiving of a child who will take us even further, and a grandchild who will take us even further, and a great-grandchild who will take us even further, and a great-great-grandchild that will take us even further, to 7 generations and beyond, back to our innocence. So allow our children to lead the way. They have the most perpetuous potential. We are in an auspicious time between cycles. And in that gap, the beginning and the ending, there is something emerging, and it is sacredness. It is wholeness. It is holiness. It is joy, it is wonder, it is a miraculous space in which to hold human to human, relationship to relationship, partnering and parenting, and children and family. It is an amazing time to be alive and to see that the first church and the cathedral is our infrastructure. I remember when my beautiful assistant Maria went to St. Basil's Monastery high up on a mountain in Albania, and he meditated and prayed for 12 years, just in a small hut. And he built a small hut on the edge of a mountain and looked over the Adriatic Sea. 12 years of meditation. And what he came back with and out of meditation with and shares to this day, because his vibration is still there, we're all vibration. This is living in the presence of her. Of her. Now humans went afterwards and climbed that rocky path and built a huge church. But his first church and intention was just to meditate. Not to sit in pews, not to sit and listen to someone behind a pulpit, not to listen to someone with robes, green velour or brocade, who was designated as the preacher, minister, not the priest, but to listen to his own soul body, the messages that came from meditation. Meditara, meditara, the medicina, the Dios, the God, the goddess. The action. He took action in his prayer, his meditation. And what was revealed was we live in the presence of her, this great mother, this Tonontzin, this Pachamama, this Mother Nature, this Madre Tierra, this Lady Gaia. We live in her presence. And so to her presence we shall return. In this full moon, may you know the wholeness of your family is much more than the limited birth family, Helen and Penty, much more than the limited birth family of siblings, Linda and Pauli. It's much more than the marriage of Karen to Wally and our children, Kirsty and Ryan. It's much more than our grandchildren, Kirsty and Linton, Jordan and Nathan, Jasmine and Ryan and Talal. It's much more than that. This whole wholesome family is an encompassing, un embraza, an embracing of all the trees, of the rocks, of the oceans, of the seas, of nature itself, the calendula, the oregano, the basil. Saint Basil is in my medicinal basil. It's in my kale. It's in your kale. It's in those sunflowers that grow in my garden. So masterfully dug up by Joel Smith. Thank you, Joel. It's in my compost pile. Layers and layers and layers of soil and organic produce. Nothing is wasted, layered with mushroom manure. Thank Goddess for fantastic fungi. And the mushroom manure eats up that organic material very, very quickly. So that the somatic body, the somatic inheritance of my legacy is seated in the earth through the winds and bridging worlds. It's seated in the earth. My urine and my feces has the medicine of what I've taken in, what I've ingested and digested, rested, relaxed, and eliminated. I'm composting medicine from my body into septic systems, into a sewage system that is full of trauma, full of fear, full of doubt, full of shame, full of guilt, full of arrogance, and full of the ignorance of the presence of her. My prayer, which I learned from Grandmother Joanne in Nelson, British Columbia, my prayer when I'm in my bath is pura amora, pura agua. May this pure love in this pure water spiral down through the hole at the end of my bathtub and join all other waters and purify it. Millions of people can pick up that prayer and purify the oceans with love. Millions of people can go to the riversides, the streams, the ocean shores, the seashores, and bless the water that the whales may breach and migrate and breed again, that the orca whale, protected by the grandfather orca, can safely breed in the harbors along Vancouver Island, that they can once more migrate down the west coast, down to the Baja, where traditionally that was the breeding ground. They're not going there anymore. We've interrupted a migratory flow of whales. We've interrupted the breeding of humpback whales. May the grandpa humpback protect the breeding of the humpbacks. We've only seen in the last month and a half or so solo humpbacks. Where is the pod? The orcas swim together in pods, the dolphins here, the white ones particularly, they swim in pods, they teach each other. They have amazing life force, amazing kundalini, amazing vitality and vibrancy. And they more than keep up with a motorized vehicle, burning up diesel, burning up fossil fuel, and putting more of that into the water. And yet the dolphins come. Are they coming to play with us? Of course they are, but they're also coming to say, what are you doing to our water? What are you doing to our breeding grounds? What are you doing to our future pod? What are you doing? When you forget that the cathedral is inside your heart, when you forget that there's no minister external, there's a minister who ministers internally to every cell, gland, and organ, and all of your systems are attuned to the sun, to the moon, to the celestial seasoning of the skies, to the planetary distribution systems and the astrological knowing of how the zodiac moves around the planet, and how we are all of that, not just one sign, but we are all of that. And that there's so much more beyond the zodiac to explore. What would happen if there's more than 12 signs? What would happen if there's 13 signs in the blue moon? What would happen if there's more spaciousness beyond all of the planets that humanity has thus far discovered? What would happen if we have limited ourselves even in space? We have limited ourselves in the exploration, the possibility that that space is within us. The external, the internal, the above, and the deep below. What would happen if we returned in this living mandala of the whole family of man, the spiritual brotherhood, the spiritual kin, the spiritual sisterhood, the stars and the moons and the planets and the central sun? What would happen if we were intended to love? All the great masters have given the same teaching. Love ye one another. As I in the I am, as we in the we are, as one in the all that is love. So my message today, my darlings, is partner the sacred, first within. Parent the sacred, the inner child. Find a little innocence just for today. Live the wonder and the miracle that this is the seed of love landing in an inner ground meant to be sustainable. For all these thoughts are mana, all these prayers are blessing, and we can eat the prayers of billions of people. We can be nurtured by breath and prayer. We can sustain life in a physical form that will transmutate the chaos. And ask ourselves, is this not our greatest service to each other, to our children, to the future generation? Is this not our greatest, wisest service? To give back to the mandala that which we've been given. Serve, give, live, see the miracle in this moment, next moment, next moment, the next moment. Know that this too will pass. Know that this is slowly coming. Know that we are the emergent paradigm, living mastery, studying our own lives with lessons, giving a teaching from our own lived experience. Our backs are being held by great teachers, by great masters, by great gods and goddesses, by incredible sacred dreams of the planetary living Gaia. Her mandala itself presences us. Just for today, moment to moment miracles. That is the natural state of human consciousness. Be aware, my darlings, you are a living miracle. You are the one. For all our relations, from Co-Create Avatars International, a white world bridging of cultures and generations of elders and youth, leaders for a new earth future. We are here to be living examples, to be the living proof of what more is possible. May you enjoy this message. Your feedback is always welcome. KaariinaTruth@hotmail.com or cocreavatar.editors@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting my initiation. Thank you for reaching in and experiencing. And thank you for Nikki for storyboarding this, and for Jen Stevenson for copy editing. We'll transcribe this and it will be published as a PDF, and it will be offered in our Co-Create Avatar e-zine for September full moon, and it will be storyboarded. So you have many ways to receive the transmission of this teaching, many ways to receive love, many ways to be love, many ways to be in service for all our relations. Returning to the center.